Hey there, gang. Thanks for coming back. It is time to unbox some more comic books. And as always, I have no idea what is in this box. You have no idea what's in the box. Nobody has any idea what is in this box except the guy who put them in the box. But he didn't tell me what's in here. He just said, hey, grade these up so we can sell them on eBay. So that's what I'm going to do. But first, I've got to get them out of the box so we'll get a chance to take a look at all of these books together. We'll see what we've got. We'll gawk at some cool old, maybe silver, Bronze Age books. Who knows? Maybe some Golden Age again. No idea. We'll talk about what we've got here. We'll reminisce. We will have some fun. So if you like comic books, stick around. Well, I guess I already said it. We're going to have some fun. Hey there, Bubby. Welcome to Shanghala. My name is Duke, and this is another unboxing video. You know the deal by now, so like, share, subscribe, do all the groovy things. If you want to see this keep on going, leave some comments below. Let me know what you think of these books, what you think, anything I have to say about them. If there's something else you'd like to see me do on this channel, then by all means, go ahead and let me know. So we will pull out the first stack of books here. Take a look at what we have, and wow. Why am I laughing? Well, if this is your first time watching one of these videos on my channel, then you have no idea. But if you've watched a few of these, you know. We buy comic book collections from all over the world. They come into our warehouse in Freeport, Maine. The owner divvies them up. The big books go off to CGC, and then when they come back, they're auctioned on a site called comic.com. The little books, those are parsed into multi-book lots to be sold on eBay or in our retail store, which is DOTCOMCOMICS in Freeport, Maine. And then kind of the middling books, those are what end up here on my desk to be graded and sold as what we call raw singles, not slabbed, but not graded by CGC or one of those companies, but graded by me and just sold as is. So the reason I'm laughing is normally you've got overhead, you've got the the cost of acquisition of the books, and it's been calculated around $7 or so is where we tend to lose money. And we don't like to sell anything for less than that. And frankly, the minimum shipping cost is like $7.50. So, most people aren't going to bid on a book at all that's valued at less than the shipping cost. And so we like to hit a target of at least $10. And most of the books that you're going to see in these unboxing videos, we expect to sell at retail for between $10 and $100. Sometimes we get surprised. The recent Hombre Arana, the Mexican Spider-Man books, the Wedding issue number 128, I think that sold for $4,300. So we get surprised from time to time. But anyway, this Nomad number 1 from, what is this, early 90s, 91, 2, 3. This is strictly a dollar book. I guess I didn't realize this was set in Seattle, but isn't that the Space Needle? But anyway, this was strictly a dollar book. But in the last year, since COVID, the market has gone absolutely crazy. And I think that's partly people spending money because they've got nothing else to do, spending their COVID relief checks. Or also it's people parking value, people who do have money, being uncertain about the economy, the various, marketplaces, and cash, as well, hyperinflation on the way, because you can't send out money for all those billions and billions and trillions of dollars of COVID relief checks and not dilute the value of the cash. And so people are parking their value in hard assets. And so comic books have gone crazy over the last year. This would have been strictly a dollar book a year ago. But now apparently the owner thinks it's going to sell for at least $10, and it may well. Things are going crazy. And the other thing that we've seen, I mentioned that we send a lot of books to CGC. There's been this recent trend of books from the early 90s, things that were recently dollar books. If you can get a 9.8 on it, they're going for like $150, $200 as a CGC graded book. So the owner, I bet, looked at this, saw something that made him think it's not a 9.8 or a 9, even a 9.6, and said, well, we'll throw that in the singles. Because the other day I was in the office, I only actually go into the office maybe 1 or 2 days a week, and I do most of my work at home. I'm already laughing because I know where I'm going with this story. The owner was literally, he had a whole row of dollar books because, you know, in our warehouse, we've got one whole room that's just dollar books, and boxes and boxes and boxes. And he was going through them and was picking out books out of the dollar bin to send to CGC. And they were things like this. So, and it just cracks me up because, I mean, if you're reading this book, you know, if you're buying it to read it, I'm not sure it's worth $1. Uh, but I certainly don't feel like it's worth, you know, 150, 200, or even 10. I wouldn't pay you $10 for that book. I shouldn't say that, right? I should be pitching hard for everything that we do. But as I tell you, oftentimes these videos aren't really a commercial for the company. They're just, you know, I'm upfront. I'm letting you know what it is that I'm doing with these books, where I'm sourcing them from, and where they're going. But this channel is really just about sharing the joy and love of comic books as a medium, collecting as a hobby. And someone out there may well pay $10 for that. Now, I wouldn't, but, you know, any book is only worth what somebody will pay for it. You know, here's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures #1. Now, this one probably is closer to worth $10. And I know that, you know, one of our regulars at the store is a big Turtle fan. He would probably pay, well, he probably has 10 copies of this already, but you know, he wouldn't think twice about paying big money for a Turtles book. I'm not into the Turtles. I wouldn't give you $1 for any Turtles book, even the first one. So again, it's only, you know, any book is only worth what you're willing to pay. What is it worth to you? This is Batman number, I don't know how well you can see it. It's got a die cut cover here. So there is a Batman, maybe in the light there you can see it. I don't actually know what issue number this is. Oh, 515 I can see here in the light. So I think I've got a 515, but I don't have the die cut cover. But you can see whatever retail store this came from originally, they thought it was worth $5. Huh. And here's another one. Here's another one. This one, again, talking about books I wouldn't give you $1 for. Again, my boss is going to see this video and fire me on the spot. This one is big because it's the new Ms. Marvel. And this is one of those books. Now, you've heard me speak in this channel before about books that shoot up in value, and then they plateau, and you would think they would come back down because the thing that made them spike in value turned out to not be a thing. And the one example I always use is Micronauts #8. Now, I love the Micronauts series from the 70s from Marvel, and that's something that I would pay good money for because I love that series. I have the whole thing, but if I didn't, you know, I would pay good money to complete that run. But issue 8 goes for a lot of money, more than #1, because it's the first appearance of Captain Universe, who was apparently going to be a thing. But then never was, and you know, there hasn't been an appearance by Captain Universe in 25, 30 years. Well, it's kind of the same thing. This particular Ms. Marvel never took off. The name's being used by somebody else. I don't know what ever became of this character, but she's obviously not coming back because they've passed on the name. So this went up in value because it's the new Ms. Marvel, and it stayed there, and it really should have come back down because she's not a thing. Why is anybody like super interested in that? But again, somebody will pay $10 for that because to somebody it's worth that. Just not me. Thanos Quest #2. Nova #1. Now I have a copy of this in my personal collection, but this is something that, okay, yeah, I would want this if I didn't have it already, and would probably pay good money for it. So that'll do well. Nova is he got hot and then kind of cooled off, you know, because of the movies, because the Nova Corps appeared, and there was a rumor we were going to see Nova himself, and then we didn't, and it doesn't seem like we're going to because he's not really teased in anything coming up. But this has gone up and stayed there. Mr. Miracle #1. Now, again, we're talking taste. This is kind of rough right here. But as we're talking taste, I don't have much taste for Jack Kirby's Fourth World. I mean, I appreciate the artistry and the mastery and the creativity of Jack Kirby, but I do not worship at the Kirby altar. And I think by the 70s, he was fading fast, and I certainly don't think Kirby was any kind of a writer. The Fourth World could have been good, maybe if he'd had somebody scripting the books for him. But God, they're clunky and hard to read. And I don't think, I mean, he played off a lot of tropes and a lot of story elements that he had already used in the Inhumans and then the Eternals in the Fourth World. And to me, there's just not a lot there. So, you know, the New Gods, and probably it's also, you know, we're also influenced by what was going on at the time that we entered the hobby. And when I started reading comic books in the mid 70s, you know, 7, 8, 9 years old, the New Gods really weren't a thing anymore. They came back briefly in about 1977 and then faded again, other than a brief appearance, a crossover appearance in a Justice League JLA JSA team up, one of those annual events. And you know, when Darkseid appeared in the Legion of Superheroes, the Great Darkness saga, that was kind of really the first time that Darkseid was really played up as a big, major universe, company-wide, all-conquering villain. He was kind of the whole Fourth World stuff was kind of meh. And so Mr. Miracle also came back briefly in the late 70s, and that's a good run, actually, by Steve Englehart and Marshall Rogers. But, yeah. So, somebody, even in this condition, is going to want this book, you know. And some of these books, you know, the way the market is, people are buying them with the intent to resell them. And, you know, with reprints and trades and all that, you don't necessarily have to buy a back issue to read it. You can read the story through other means. But I'm not somebody that's going to jump really hard at any Kirby Fourth World material. Doesn't mean that much to me. And this is New Gods #1, and that might mean something to you. It's pretty neat. This is, I call this the first book of the Bronze Age. You know, there's a lot of debate as to what is the Bronze Age. When exactly does it start? When does it end? And I should do a video on that. I've been meaning to, because the bronze and silver both, I break them up into early, middle, and late periods. And this I call the first book of the middle period. So, here we go. Savage She-Hulk #1. Now this is a good book. This could go for, you know, it's in nice grade. That could go for $40-50, maybe more. But I read this book when it first came out, and it was the only book of the She-Hulk series that I read at the time when I was a kid. This came out in about 79, 80. So I would have been, I think, 11 or 12. I just think it was very good. It was derivative, and it was obvious to me, even as a pubescent, that the whole thing was only being done to secure trademark and copyright. So I did not love this book as a kid, but a lot of love for She-Hulk today, and that's largely because of her late appearances. And I did not come myself to appreciate She-Hulk until she joined the Fantastic Four under John Byrne. And I remember when he first did that, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But I soon grew to love Jennifer and even to not miss Ben so much. This book is awesome, though. I remember when this book came out, and this one blew my socks off. Marvel Premiere #47, first appearance of Scott Lang as Ant-Man. I think his second appearance overall. He had a cameo in Avengers #181. But yeah, this is a good book. This is, if you haven't read this is something you need to read. 47, 48. Good book. All right. Here's some Bronze Age Thor, #193. And here we go. Return of the Jedi, the Star Wars 4-issue miniseries, and #2, the official comics adaptation. So there you go. Let's pull out the next pile, see what we've got. I've been a little chatty so far in this video, so I may have to cut this box into 2 videos. Probably will. There's another number 2. And this is a newsstand edition, so by the 75-cent era, we've taken the listing when it's a newsstand edition, kind of making that clear in the title line of the eBay listing, because we're noticing that there is more interest in the newsstand editions. And by this era, the 75-cent era, they're probably maybe about 50-50, how many sold on the newsstand, how many sold by direct sales, which get, into the early 90s or so, and the newsstands become not just variant editions, but rare variant editions. Maybe 10% of the total print run was newsstand versions. So, and the other thing, of course, about this era is you didn't have, 101 different covers to an issue. You basically had 2. You had 1 cover, and then you had it in 2 versions, the direct sales and the newsstand. And there are people who actively collect both, but then there are people who like the newsstand because it's harder to get a high-grade issue of the newsstand version because, again, the direct sales were sold, to fanboys when they went directly in bags and boards and were carefully handled. The newsstand tended to go more to tended to go more to casual fans who, weren't very careful in the handling of them, didn't save them necessarily long term. And so, they're not only less plentiful, but it's much harder to find them in high grade. So there's number 1. There's another newsstand version of number 1. Avengers West Coast. This series has taken off since WandaVision. I'm not sure what this particular issue has going for it. Might be the War Machine armor. Here is one of the most incongruous, unlikely pairings ever. Punisher meets Archie. The crossover you've been dreading. Excalibur 31. Now, why is Excalibur 31? Again, this is something I would have expected to find in a dollar bin. And it's not a key book, that it's something that I would expect to be taking off recently. So, not sure. Runaways number 1, that is, of course, a thing. Have you ever seen the Runaways TV show? I never have. So, and this is another thing that I think I got like the first 3 issues of the Runaways when it came out, and I dropped it. I was like, whatever. X-Force number 1. It's a hard book to get in high grade because this seam in the poly bag tends to leave a indentation and or a color rub in the book, and also in the front cover of other books if it was in any kind of a stack for a long time. But the thing about these is people are recently taken to caring about what cards are in here. And here we go. So this Deadpool card, let me see if I can get it there. So people are calling this, like baseball cards, they're calling this the Deadpool rookie card. So apparently this came with different cards, and if you've got one with a Deadpool card, that is suddenly, within the last couple of years, for no particular reason, now worth something. So that is, it wasn't called that at the time, but it is now being called the Deadpool rookie card. So, there you go. Spider-Man 2099, number 1. Cherry Pop-Tart, second print. And, we're going to see, I thought we might see boobies, but we see nipples at least. So, Cherry Pop-Tart was an adult book and kind of a faux Archie style. That's an underground book. Here's some more Cherry Pop-Tart, a little dominatrix action. Bigger, longer, harder. Kind of clear what audience they were playing to. This is looking very R-Crumb down here, but there's some more Cherry Pop-Tart. There you go. More Cherry Pop-Tart, or now it's just being called Cherry. Okay. Penetrating social commentary. Oh, I missed this one. Raw sex and violence. One of my coworkers we call Small Sean, because one of the co-owners of the company is also named Sean. So he's Tall Sean, And then the employee is Small Sean, and that's because of their height, not, it's not a power thing. But high-wheeled Powerotica. Anyway, he is super into underground books, so he will appreciate those. I guarantee you that if you're following on Instagram, Fish Shaking Comics, that's his handle, probably within a week or so of whenever you see this video go up, when they get to his desk, because for me they go to him, and he's the one who scans them in and does the actual listing for the raw singles. And you will probably see some photos of those on his Instagram. I bet you he won't be able to resist. So here is X-Force number 2, and I think this is the second appearance of Deadpool, and historically this hasn't done that much. We've sold this, a couple of years ago for a couple of bucks. We post it and there'd be very little interest in it, but it is starting to move now, and again, that's relative to the whole market taking off. This Turtle Adventures number 2, number 3, and I tell you, I don't understand the appeal of the Turtles. I think for most people it comes, they were introduced to the Turtles probably through the cartoon rather than the comic book. Let me know in the comments below, are you into the Turtles? And if so, how and when did you first get into the Turtles? Was it the original run of Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman comics, or something later like these, Archie series books, or through one of the cartoons or movies? Let me know, I'm interested, because I just never got any of it, and the whole thing mystifies me. But then I'm sure, there are some people out there, maybe yourself included, who just don't get my love for the Legion of Superheroes. Again, there's something for everybody in comics, and not everything has to appeal to everyone. So here's X-Man number 1, and that's another one that, again, would have been a $1 book a year ago, and now is taking off. Oh, interesting. Married with Children number 1. These two really don't look much like their counterparts. Peggy does a little bit. Bundy does kinda. I say Bundy because I'm forgetting his real name. I know he was on, what was the name of that show? Family something? What is the name of that show? Different family, oh my God. I'm having a senior moment. I can't even remember the show that he was recently on. I like that show, but I'm blanking on the title. Wolverine versus Hulk, so there you go. That's one of the many Hulk reboots. This is a good book. Now, as much as I say that I did not care for the original She-Hulk series, I did enjoy this John Byrne take, the Sensational She-Hulk. A lot of people don't get it. They think it was sexist, and they don't really get where he was coming from, and kind of parodying. It was a parody of. Let's try that, because I'm not sure that parodying is a word. Parodizing. And again, I used to write for a living. They didn't really get what he was doing with it, as far as making fun of, what was prevalent in the industry at that time. All right, gang, so the rest of this box ended up being all Bronze Age books, mostly Incredible Hulk and Avengers. So this seems like a good breaking point, a breaking point for the video. Hopefully not breaking your interest in my videos. But please, if, Bronze Age Hulk, Bronze Age Avengers, if that interests you, please come back tomorrow. We will pick right up, right where we left off. And until then, goodbye, good luck, and please, be good to each other. Hey there, gang. Thanks for coming back. It is time to unbox some more comic books. Fuck me.